everyone. Welcome to Parsha with Passion, Parshas Bahar. First of all, thank you to the people who sent me emails saying, where's your Parsha class? I was trying to cook last night and I didn't have your Parsha class joining me. So thank you very much, because I appreciate you missing me. And I really, it's healthy pressure. It's really healthy pressure knowing that you're waiting for this class. And I apologize that I didn't put it out last night, catching you up. Last night I went to pick my sister up from the airport. And she wasn't there. And I think her flight was supposed to come in at 7:50. I got there 7:30. I was going to be on time. I really wanted to give her a nice welcome. She's coming all the way from Israel. Her name is Shula, Dr. Shula Wittenstein, best woman out there. So her and her husband were coming in, and I was just going to wait for them. So I figured I'll do the Parsha class afterwards. Everything's going to be okay. Left the kids at home, went to pick her up. Bye, kids. I'll be back in an hour. Well, an hour later, I was still in my car waiting for them. And you know how the policeman comes and he chases you out of your place at the parking, at the airport parking, and I'm waiting for them by arrivals, and the policeman comes, and I circle around again, and I circle around again. Then, of course, I listen to a Torah Anytime class. Thank you, Torah Anytime. And try to use my time wisely. And it's actually was pretty relaxing to have all that alone time, sitting in the car, air conditioner on, class playing on my phone. Then afterwards I caught up with a friend, but they weren't coming. Where were they? So every once in a while I would just leave my car, sneak into the airport, hope the policeman wouldn't come and take away my car while I wasn't looking. And, you know, I started eating the cinnamon buns that I had put aside for them, that I brought for them when they got off their flight. It was just, where were they? And 1 hour passed, a second hour passed. I couldn't leave them. I called their sister-in-law. Did you hear from them? Nobody heard from them. So finally, after 2.5, was it 2.5 hours? Yes, 2 hours, I think. They came out, and okay. So what had happened was that they were carrying some deli meat for lunch in their bags, and they had to declare it with the Department of Agriculture. So as they came into America, they first had to stop and declare their deli meat, and that just took forever. And when they were done with that, they went to pick up their luggage, and their luggage got lost, and they had to deal with that. And they were trying to figure out, where is their luggage? How will they be compensated for their luggage? What's going to happen when they come and drop off their luggage and it's Shabbos over here and we can't sign the papers? They won't drop it off. They won't leave it with us. It took 2 hours. So finally they came in. So nice to have my sister here, and so did not make a class for you that late at night. You would have gotten me like this, like, "Hi everyone, it's Parshas Bahar." So I didn't want to do that. Anyway, it's the morning now, Baruch Hashem, and sun is shining, and I'm energized and ready to share with you, and so grateful that you're listening, and I hope that you get to listen to this before Shabbos, and if you don't, then I hope that you had a nice Shabbos, and sorry if I caused you any disappointment, and you know, it's good when you start something to follow through. That's what I always say. It's not what I always do, it's what I try to do. Anyway. Parshas Bahar, and the topic is losing yourself. Losing yourself and finding your home. And we're going to learn that out from some really technical Jewish laws. So hang out with me while I get you through these technical Jewish laws, because Jewish law is incredible. You need to learn it. You need to learn halakha from a really wise teacher. Because every halacha, you need to learn it with Chassidus, basically, because every halacha has in it layers and layers of life that you're supposed to learn from. It's all just code for life. It's unbelievable. So Jewish law is just like, there's multiple dimensions to it, and we're going to hit the psychological dimension. It's a little sticky out here. Okay, so we're talking about the law of yovel. And yovel is the 50th year in the Shemitah cycle. For those who aren't familiar, who are watching this on other venues other than Torah Anytime, Shemitah is a 7-year cycle. On the 7th year, the farmer lets his land rest, does not work his land. It's an amazing miracle and a tremendous testimony to the self-sacrifice of Torah observance and belief in a creator, this Shemitah observance. It doesn't make any logical sense, and yet it works, and it brings tremendous blessing that a farmer does not work his land at all for the 7th year, which means that God needs to provide in the 6th year for the 7th year and a little bit of the 8th year. It's tremendous. Look it up. And then comes yovel, and yovel is the 50th year, which means that after 49 years of Shemitah. There's a cycle, 7 and 7, and the 50th year is another year called yovel. And there's all kinds of laws related to yovel. And one of the laws is the law of redeeming property. So here's where we're going to get technical for a minute, but try to hold it in your brain. So let's say a person is, and I just want to share with you that this insight is from YY Jacobson, the yeshiva.net. So let's say that someone is very poor, and all they have is this land that they inherited, and they don't have the money to keep it up. They're destitute, and they need to sell this land. So they sell it, and it hurts them. And there is a law that they have up to 2 years to redeem it, which means that they can go to the buyer and say, okay, here's your money, I'd like my land back. And for 2 years, they can do that, and the land rightfully is redeemed by them. Additionally, when yovel comes, the land is automatically returned to them. Law number 1. Law number 2. What if a person is so poor and all he has is his ancestral home? He lives here, that's all he's got. And he's got to sell his home in order to make it. So now we have 2 types of homes, the home in a walled city, the home in an unwalled city. In Israel and in Jewish law, there are walled cities like the old city of Jerusalem and like Jericho, which is Jericho, and there's unwalled cities. And this has a few different ramifications. And in this law, if a person sells their home in an unwalled city, they have up to a year to redeem it. They can just go to the buyer and say, whoa, I have the money, I want my house back. Yay, they can have it back. And then at the end, they can also get it back by yovel. If a person has a home in a walled city, then they have a year to redeem it, but they don't have the chance to redeem it by yovel. Okay? You got that? So the field, the home in the walled city, the home in an unwalled city. And now we're going to go a layer deeper. And I have a cup of water because I think it's like 95 degrees out here. I said bracha before. Okay. So what does the field represent? The field represents your career, your interactions with the world, what you're doing out there. And when you go down the wrong path and you sell out and you sell your field, so to speak, you sell your career, you're not honest anymore, you're selfish, you're greedy. None of you are like this. This is all conceptual. You're all awesome and honest and beautiful. But conceptually, if a person took his business and really got crooked with it, he can run with that. He could still sleep at night for a little while. It takes a while to really be haunted by your dishonest actions till one thing piles on another, and you start to feel creepy in your skin, and you start to feel shameful, and people start drinking or something. That takes a while, and that's 2 years to redeem. 2 years, as a metaphor for it takes a little while until that catches up with you. When you sell your home in an unwalled city, that represents your home. This home that I'm sitting in front of, your family, your children, your siblings, your parents. When you sell out with them, when you stop connecting with them, when you lose touch with your priorities, when you stop investing in relationships, when you don't make those people important to you, when you start to ignore your elderly parents, God forbid, then, or ignore your husband, or ignore your marriage, the fact that you're married and you need time together, you lose touch with all that, then it catches up with you really quickly. It's a year. It's just a year, and metaphorically a year, where you start to feel the damage much more quicker because you're playing with such a tender part of yourself. You're playing with the home. When you're playing with the home, you cause destruction very, very quickly when you sell out on your home values. And then comes an even deeper thing, which is your home within a walled city. And this is your most intimate, vulnerable core center, and that is your relationship with God, your deepest soul connection. And when you stop making time for God, when you put all your spiritual practices aside, then it's a year before, a metaphorical year. It's pretty quick before you completely lose it, and it's metaphorically not redeemable even by yovel, meaning to say it's a much, much greater loss. It's the greatest loss. So I think that in YY's piece, where he was pointing at was this God piece, was where if you don't connect with God, then it's, so to speak, unredeemable. But I'm not going to focus there with you guys, because I think you are connected with God. I think that it would take a lot for me to say that a woman is not connected with God. I would quicker say that she's not connected with herself and with her home, and that's really where we need to work. And when we work on that stuff, the way we work on that stuff, that is our godly work. That's it. So I want to step back a step and go to the unwalled, the homes in the unwalled city, which is our actual homes. Now I'm going to check my mic. Okay, good. So I'm making a retreat coming up, and it's really strange because the retreat is this Sunday, and I just realized that the retreat is called the Redemption Retreat, and we're sitting here talking about redeeming. And the point of the retreat is for women to let go, come back home to themselves, and discover through that coming home to themselves, discover their life mission. There's this external piece where they're going to discover literally an articulated life mission, and an internal piece where they're going to land in their essence and connect with themselves and come home. That's my vision and my goal and the behind the scenes orchestration of this whole retreat. Now everyone knows about this retreat because I just keep talking about it. I always say to people when I have to do business with them, I tell them I have a gift. My gift is my big mouth. So this is a lot of fun because in school I spent my time in detention for my big mouth. You know, if there was a teacher I thought she was picking on a kid, oh my gosh, I had so much chutzpah. I would just raise my hand and yell at the teacher. It was very, very bad. And of course, I got sent to detention, and that's pretty much where I actually learned to enjoy detention, to tell you the truth. I just got used to going home at 5, and it was a lot of fun. I just sat in a room by myself. So that was when my big mouth did not work in my favor, and now it does work in my favor. Hooray for becoming an adult. So I tell people, if I love working with you, I can't help telling other people about it. So the same goes with my own thing. When I am so excited about this retreat, I just can't help talking about it and telling you about it, telling everyone about it. It's such a gift for women that I want to give, and that it's just, and it's a gift for me to be, it's just amazing. So anyway, so yes. So why? Why do you need a retreat? Why does anyone need a retreat is like a really good question, We could take little vacations. We have Shabbos every single week. And the thing is that we lose track of our home. We sell out on our home. And we do this, and it's part of just being alive, is that we cycle up and down. We cycle through periods of all of life is a cycle. If you ever look at a heartbeat, it goes up and down, up and down. If you look at a vibration, a sound wave, a wave in the ocean, all of life is a constant aliyah yerida, up and down, up and down. And this is how we grow. Growth is not a straight line up. And this is just, I'm reminding you of this. I know that you know this, but we want to grow like, I'm growing. No, we're growing up and down, right? Like a heartbeat. We fall, we rise, we fall, we rise. And we just need, our trajectory needs to be upwards, right? So we do have this struggle of losing connection with our essence and with ourselves, and forgetting who we are and selling out on who we are. And one of the ways that this shows up is selling out with our families. So one of the places that we lose focus is in our marriages, and I want to talk about that first. My girls, actually, they're the age to start dating, so I'm getting to talk to them a little bit about marriage. And as I do, I think, they're a little bit surprised at how hard work it is. And it's funny because, I have quite a fun marriage. I'm kind of dedicated to enjoying, I heard a great, just as an aside, but it's just so brilliant, and I think it does relate. I was listening to a class yesterday when I was waiting for my sister at the airport, by my brother, Rebbe Ben Sion Klatzko. Every single class of his is like a slam dunk. So he was talking in this one class about fear. And he was saying that, why do people go on roller coasters? It's tremendously scary. Isn't it scary? It's so scary. You're going down at 100 miles an hour. But people go on it, and they call it fun, and kids love it. And we just took our kids to Six Flags over Pesach. I'm like mad that they went on these rides. I looked at the roller coasters there, the King Dakar and Six Flags. It's like a 90, I don't know, it is 100 miles an hour. And I got angry. I'm like, that's obscene. Whoever created that is arrogant. What a ridiculous thing to make. You can't, no. Like, thank God. I was with some little kids with my nieces and nephews, and I did not have to stand online with them to go on that roller coaster. Like, my mother's heart could not handle it, and I like to call myself daring, but I guess I'm not, because no, don't go on the King Dakar. It goes like this, woo! It's crazy. Sometimes, it's so steep that sometimes as it's going up the hill, up the mountain, so that it can go down the mountain, it doesn't make it up the mountain. It just goes up, and it can't get enough momentum because it's such a straight angle. It is like a pillar in the sky and then this crazy drop. So why do they go on it? What is going on? I mean, they could die. People could die on roller coasters, and they do, but pretty much everyone loves them. So why is that? Why do we go on? Because you feel safe. You know that this is a roller coaster. They don't want to kill people. They're pretty much making this so people can have a good time. Their success is your success. There's a lot of safety measures in place. And when you have fear plus safety, it equals fun. It's a thrill. It's scary, but I'm going to be okay. That's called fun. So where he was pointing in that talk was to Emunah, was in connection to Hashem. I think he was talking about tshuva, that when you do tshuva, it doesn't have to. When you repent, it's scary, but you're going to be safe at the end. You're in good hands. There's no meanness or cruelty around. So that can become a fun, happy experience of connection, and that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be with simcha, with joy. So anyway, back to marriage. So when I say I'm committed to having a fun marriage, that's what I mean. I mean that it's hard work, but there's a safety net of this matters so much. There's commitment here. This is where the gold is, and I'm going for gold. So we're gonna enjoy this hard work. This is gonna be a pleasure because we're gonna have safety in the relationship, and then the hard work is gonna be a pleasure. So anyway, I'm talking to my girls about this, hard work. And I don't think I called it hard, just work, It's a relationship. I said, you see us married, we're 20 years later. But it's not how we were when we started out. I remember such ridiculous things when we started out. Like, such an example. I would sit next to my husband, who's very close with his sister, and he would be talking to his sister, and I'd feel like he's ignoring me. Little did I know that my company was his pleasure. And he was so happy to have me next to him while he was talking to his sister. I was just like, married for a week, you're ignoring me, or, just ridiculous things like that. Or, oh my gosh, just so much really good work. We have this funny thing that I think it's funny because he remembers it, that when we were dating, I would talk, and he would listen, and he's a very good listener. And I was getting very frustrated with him, and I finally said, you have to answer something. You have to give feedback. You have to say, oh, I hear what you're saying. Oh, yes, that makes sense to me. Oh, so you're feeling like this. And I kind of gave him a little, here's what I need. And he became really great at giving feedback. But he tells guys that, women need you to hear, when he actually teaches people who are getting married all about husbandry. So, chassan classes. So he tells them, you've got to give feedback, let your wife know that you're listening, even if you wouldn't automatically. So you have this idea of work and, working on your marriage. And then you have decades that go by, and then sometimes you lose track of working on your marriage. Sometimes you sell out. You sell your home because you're destitute, like in the Parsha. Maybe you're destitute because you're depleted and you're exhausted. Maybe you're destitute because you're in pain. Maybe life hit you hard. Maybe this need to make money and to make a livelihood is just sucking you dry, and it's exhausting your bones, and you feel like, I can't give more to my marriage. I can't. I'm not even interested. I wish I could, but no. Or maybe you have some unexpressed feelings or resentments towards your husband, and instead of expressing them as communication, you've just wrapped them up in this pile of complaints that you're never going to say. So you're slowly building a wall between the two of you, and now it's so hard to bridge the distance. So you just sold out on the dream of really connecting with him because, you just look at him and there's just so much that he doesn't know about what you're thinking at this point. maybe you're destitute because you're not taking care of yourself, and somehow you didn't get that message, or it's hard for you to do self-care. So you're not eating right, sleeping right, exercising right, or just taking care of your emotional world in a gentle way that you can be there fully for another person. And so he's losing out, Or maybe you're selling out because you forgot to appreciate. You forgot to appreciate what it means to be married. What a great gift that is, to spend your life with someone imperfect, just like you're imperfect, but maybe you just forgot to appreciate and to have gratitude for having someone to share your life with. There's so many millions of people who cry and beg and wish and yearn to have someone to share their life with, and you have it. But maybe you sold out on living in gratitude and just, lost connection with that thought. So as I'm speaking about this, I'm getting really sad, because the thing is that when you sell something, when a person is so poor that they need to sell their house, so they have money, but that money is not happy money. It causes them pain. They had to sell something important to them. And the women that I speak to or that I coach, there's sadness there when you're not connected to your loved one in the way that you want to be. There's real sadness when you sell out. So I want to focus there, and let's just take a minute to think about a place in your marriage where you might be selling out, where you might not be, number one, expressing yourself, really sharing yourself, taking the risk to say what you need to say. So often we can get into a habit. It's really a protective habit of not expressing ourselves, and thereby causing walls to go up. Or we're not expressing ourselves because we're scared of the ramifications, and we don't understand how to express ourselves in a way that the ramifications are there, but they don't shake us up too much. And I want to recommend this book, actually, The Dance of Anger, that I'm recommending to everyone, where it's called The Dance of Anger, Changing the Pattern of Intimate Relationships. And to me, this is like it's a very old book. It's decades old. It just keeps on getting reprinted because it really addresses how women deal with confrontation and expressing ourselves. It's unbelievable, and it deserves its own class. I would take you through chapter by chapter on The Dance of Anger. What I really want you to do is go out and buy the book on Amazon, because it's a book that every woman needs. And I'm not just saying every woman needs this book. No, every woman needs this book, period. So that's one thing that could happen. Or maybe you stopped spending time together. I have a friend who's working on her marriage, and she got in touch with a book called Marriage Fitness, and she talks about talk charges, that as she was working on her marriage, she took on this exercise of talk charges, where you have to charge your phone, so you have to charge your marriage. So 5 times a day, you connect through talking, not through texting, through talking. Hi, how are you? What's going on? And maybe you have once by phone, once when you wake up, once when you go to sleep. Your marriage might not be up to a place where you need to count the talk charges. It might not need that kind of rehab, but it could be that you're just losing connection with each other, that you're just not really making the time to speak to each other, to share your daily lives. And lastly, date night, getting away. You both have a busy life. Most likely you're both working. Either you're working at home or you're working out of the home. And you need time together, physical time, and it's so easy to put other things first. So making time for your marriage and time for your husband is a way of coming home. It's a way of redeeming your field, redeeming what's important to you. And within that is a deeper redeeming, and that's the redeeming of your femininity. Because the feminine essence wants to be. The feminine essence wants to receive. And we're in a world of do and go and be. It happens to me all the time where I'm doing my thing, and my thing is very go, go, go. And then Shabbos comes, and I got to prepare for Shabbos, and suddenly I'm in the kitchen for 3 or 4 hours, and I love it. And I'm not a person who loves being in the kitchen so much, but Shabbos comes and that 3 or 4 hours in the kitchen, it really takes me back to myself. I start to relax. I start to be nicer. You know, some people get meaner on Erev Shabbos. I just get nicer because I'm home. I'm in touch with my feminine self. I put on that apron and I'm just transformed. I'm relaxed. And, you know, one of the ways that we sell out our home is by selling out the feminine essence. You know, it says that Isha Kriya Bayis, the woman is called the home. So sometimes you can sell out on your femininity and not just lean into it and relax into it. Just try it now. I know it's a sheer, not a meditation, but just like, relax. Just be you. You don't need to do anything. You just need to feel your connection with yourself, your divine self, your connection with Hashem, and focus from that place with trust that you will have everything you need, and you will even have the wisdom and the intuition that you need to do the things you need to do in your life. And that's the second way, that the second part of selling out is sometimes we sell out on that connection with ourselves and with our divine essence. And you know, when I was planning my retreat, I actually went through this whole masculine, feminine kind of challenge and struggle, like where first I was approaching things from a very masculine way. Let's do this activity, then that activity, then that workshop, then that workshop. And then, you know what happened? I went to the Pearl Stone where we're having the retreat, and I went there because we were planning a night hike, and I wanted to make sure that I understood how the trails worked, because I can't get everyone lost that night. Well, I could, but I don't want to. So I needed to check out the trails, and I took the trail, and I was winding through the woods, and then I got to and I was doing it at first in a very masculine way. Like when my little daughter was with me and she was smelling the flowers, and I'm like, not now, honey, I'm focused and I gotta find this trail. I wanted to know that I had the trail. And I didn't want to stop and enjoy it. I just wanted to go, go, go. Finally, I found the trail. I found this gorgeous vista that I had been looking for, that I bumped into once. It's just over a hill. It's like high up on a hill overlooking a lake, and you just find yourself there, and it's amazing with this gorgeous tree that just provides incredible shade, and you just want to pull out your journal and write, you know, and contemplate and think over there. So I finally found it, and then I was like, oh, I'm here. And I got into my feminine essence. I landed there. I soaked it in. I felt the shade from the tree, and I saw the shadows that the leaves were making. And I just was in the grass, and there was no other place to go and no place to be. And I felt my spirit, and I felt Hashem, and I was like, oh, okay. Here we are again. Have to go back from the masculine to feminine, and both energies are important, you know. I needed to find that trail, and I also needed to relax. But my retreat started to take a different turn as I spent a few hours on that property, and I remembered that Hashem's world, all of nature, is calling us to rejuvenate and to connect, and it's not good to go, go, go. And I started to slant the whole energy of the retreat to a quieter place, to a place of deeper connection, and not of connection where you're only going to connect with other people or you're only going to connect with your coach, but where you're going to connect with yourself and let go and trust that you have all the answers inside of you. If you can just be quiet and listen and trust, you'll find them. So we came back to that. So that is the second type of losing that we do, and the second time of home that is open for us to redeem. And that brings us to the end of our class, and I hope that you got a lot out of this class. I'm sitting, which is not my usual. It's a much more relaxed energy, and I'm also outside, which is making me feel very dreamy, and I'm also really hot, and I'm wondering from you if this class hit the mark for you. No, I don't want to say that. No. And that brings us to the end of this class, Parshas Bahar, talking about selling out and redeeming. And I want to give you a bracha this Shabbos, that you redeem yourself, that you find yourself in your marriage, that you reconnect to the person who you're sharing your life with, that you make an actual plan to reconnect. You make a date night plan. You make a Shabbos morning coffee plan. You make a plan to not have guests one meal. You make a plan to cut out an activity so that you can just have family time. My daughter just made Aliyah this week, and it's tremendous thing, and I have so much to tell you about that. And I've been writing on Facebook about it, and she has a blog, the Aliyah blog.wordpress.com, and you could read about it. She's an amazing young lady, but you know what? She's leaving my home, and I'm so grateful that I knew that she was leaving because we made sure to spend time together. And I wish that we would have spent even more time together, but at least towards the end when she was really going, I really cut out almost all my coaching and just like to try to catch these moments with her. And we don't know how many moments we have. We don't know. We just need to live in gratitude for what we do have. Maybe your daughter is going to make Aliyah tomorrow. Maybe your life's going to change. Who knows? We just have now. And now is when we want to redeem the sparks that are there within our marriage, connect back to our essence, slow down, and don't sell out on the things that are most important to you. Wishing you a Shabbos of blessing and connection. Take care.